Welcome to another Elder Scrolls lore video. I was considering what video to make today when I thought back to a really memorable moment when I was playing Skyrim, and this would have been probably about 7 years ago now, maybe a little bit over. And this moment was when, after defeating my first dragon, I went to return to the Jarl of Whiterun, and I heard a great voice calling in a strange language. I later of course found out that this was the Greybeards calling the Dragonborn to High Hrothgar. So, for today's video, I've looked into where these monks came from, and just some general information about them that is not directly revealed to us in the main story of Skyrim. Like as in, you would have had to do extra things to find it out, or you would have had to read books in the game, etc. Just lore. To begin with, the Greybeards were founded by the famous Jurgen Windcaller. Jurgen Windcaller was a Nord hero and chieftain from the First Era, who to this day is still considered the mightiest of all the tongues. The tongues being people who are able to call upon the power of the Thu'um, which is effectively dragon shouts. Jurgen Windcaller founded the Greybeards after he suffered a great defeat at the Battle of Red Mountain. It was after this defeat that he concluded that the gods were angry at the way the Thu'um was being used. So, he meditated for 7 years, eventually developing the creed known as the Way of the Voice. The basic tenets of this creed are that the Thu'um should only be used in worship and in glory of the gods. I'll get into the Greybeards' attitude of the Dragonborn's usage later on, because obviously if you've played Skyrim, you'll know that you can just shout people to literal death, but I'll get into that later on. And just as a quick interesting fact, it's thought that the Thu'um itself was first taught to man by one of Alduin's generals during the Dragon War. This general was the dragon Paarthurnax. Paarthurnax first taught the Thu'um to the 3 Nord heroes, Gormlaith Goldenhilt, Feldir the Old, and Hakon One Eye. But I'll talk about Paarthurnax a little bit later in this video, and I will do a full video on him and these heroes in the future. As for notable moments in the Greybeards' history, during the Second Era, the Greybeards did not speak to anyone for a long time. That was until they spoke the name of Tiber Septim, who they called to High Hrothgar to be blessed as the Dragonborn. During this time, Tiber Septim learned that he was destined to become the Emperor of all of Tamriel. And yet again, I'll do a video on Tiber Septim in the future. I imagine most of you will have probably heard of him anyway, but I will do a video on him. Some of you may also be wondering where the dragon Paarthurnax fits into all this. As in Skyrim, the Greybeards refer to this dragon as their grandmaster. To summarize it in a simplistic way, Paarthurnax effectively agreed with Jurgen's philosophy of the Way of the Voice. So, after the construction of High Hrothgar, he made his home at the throat of the world, where he lived in seclusion. And I'm sure you'll know this from playing the games, but it is a very well guarded secret that the Greybeards are actually led by a dragon. Meaning only the Greybeards, and then eventually people like say the Dragonborn, will only know about his existence. I'm not entirely sure if someone like Ulfric would know. I will get into Ulfric later in the video, but I don't think he would because he was simply a student. You have to get to quite a high point to find out. It's kind of similar to how with the companions, you have to get to the inner circle first before you find out that Aela, Farkas, and all the rest are werewolves. The other notable people who have been known to have contact with these monks are Ulfric Stormcloak and the Dragonborn of the Fourth Era. Ulfric actually studied the Way of the Voice for some time before he eventually left and instead became the leader of the Stormcloak Rebellion. Although Ulfric did not master the Thu'um, he did learn it to a point where he could kill the, at the time, High King of Skyrim, King Torygg. And that's a very basic thing about Ulfric. Obviously, get into him. I know I keep on saying this, but I feel like I should just let you know that I will do videos on pretty much every character I talk about. This is not as in-depth as I'm going to go into them, just as I am for this video. As for the Dragonborn of the Fourth Era, the Greybeards called out to them after it was revealed that they were the Dragonborn. And from there, the Dragonborn must make their way to High Hrothgar, where they will then be taught a few shouts, and of course, the Greybeards will also ask the Dragonborn to prove that they possess the power of the Thu'um. They then send the Dragonborn to retrieve the horn of Jurgen Windcaller, and I'm sure you'll know the rest of the story from there. But if you don't, just as a very, very quick overview, the Dragonborn goes to get the horn. It's actually been taken by a member of the Blades because the Blades basically think this is what the Greybeards will get the Dragonborn to retrieve, so then the Blades can meet the Dragonborn. A lot of stuff happens there. The Dragonborn can eventually return to High Hrothgar, where they'll be embraced as the Dragonborn by the Greybeards and blessed, and then it kind of spirals off into a lot in the story, and I won't spoil all that for you, as this video is more about the lore of the Greybeards, not necessarily all the stuff you kind of know. I did mention before that I would also discuss the Greybeards' view on how the Dragonborn uses the Thu'um, so I'll I'll get into that now. For a basic response, they simply overlook it, as they deem that the voice should only be used to fight in times of need. They consider the coming of a Dragonborn a time of need, as they believe that the Dragonborn comes from the gods' will, so the gods must have made a decision that there needs to be a Dragonborn, and therefore it's a time of need. But it is also important to note that during these times of need, the Greybeards are told that they should not use their voice for fighting in this time, so they have to keep to their tenets. But one thing I will say is that the Greybeards are not complete pacifists, and they will defend their home. They simply won't seek battle or use the voice for selfish reasons. So for example, say if the Dragonborn said, hey, I need you to help me defeat Alduin by using your voices, they'd say no. But if Alduin went and attacked High Hrothgar, then they would defend it. In Skyrim, you can actually join the group most opposed to the Greybeards, and this is the Blades, and if you follow their quest, you actually end up being forced to kill Paarthurnax. If you don't kill him, you cannot progress with the Blades. If you do kill the dragon, the Greybeards will then dislike you and refuse to help you, the Dragonborn, find any more words of power. I mean, and it's fair enough, you literally kill the grandmaster of their order and the dragon that actually taught the Thu'um to Nords. So anyway, by the time the 4th era comes around, there is only 5 members of this group left, and these members include Arngeir, Bori, Einarth, Wulfgar, and finally, the dragon Paarthurnax, their grandmaster. Just a little interesting note, if you wish to talk to any of the Greybeards other than Paarthurnax or Arngeir, but they have to whisper, and you may notice that even these whispers shake the walls of High Hrothgar, because just the general Greybeards don't have that much control over the voice as the Dragonborn. The Dragonborn is a very, very special figure among the Greybeards and just in Tamriel in general. For example, the Greybeards would have to study for almost their entire lives to get mastery of the voice, and the Dragonborn just has to kill a couple dragons, and then look at some walls. There's no studying involved, it's just a natural gift. And I actually have one final point to note that you may find interesting, and it's that if you progress with the main story of Skyrim, you can go to Sovngarde and actually meet Jurgen Windcaller, which I think is pretty interesting. There's also a lot of other figures there, like the people that were first taught the way of the voice, Ysgramor and stuff. I'm sure you'll have noticed that, but it's still interesting. Anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's Elder Scrolls lore video. I do actually enjoy making these from time to time. They're just a bit of fun, it's a little bit different from The Witcher, and it kind of keeps things fresh for me, and I think it was fun to make this today. I always really like the Greybeards, as it's really cool when you first go to High Hrothgar, you climb all those steps, you fight a frost troll, and finally, after going through all this snow, you make your way into this sort of monastery, and then you meet these hooded figures who teach you about the voice. It feels very cool, it's like a pilgrimage. But yeah, I hope you've all learned something new anyway, or at least enjoyed today's video. As always guys, if you've enjoyed today's Elder Scrolls lore video, want to see more, or just want to support the channel in general, I'd really appreciate you liking the video, as it genuinely does help. I just want to say thank you to all of you that like the video, as it's just a really nice thing to do, so thank you all so much. Also, if this is the first video you're finding on my channel, be sure to subscribe. I do Witcher lore videos every week, I do Witcher parts, I alternate an Elder Scrolls, Middle-earth, or Witcher lore video, it depends, every week as well, so you'll be able to see more Elder Scrolls lore videos in the future, if that's what you just like specifically. So be sure to subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter. I do updates on there whenever any new videos come out. I'll put stuff on there if anything's happening with the channel or just stuff like that in general. I might ask you guys questions on there here and there. You never know, I could do some sort of video where I ask you questions, then I get the answers on Twitter. I don't know. I'd recommend following me on there in case you don't want to miss any of that anyway. And also be sure to follow me on Twitch. I'm sure I'll do some games on there at some point. So if you want to make sure you don't miss the streams when I do go live, I'd recommend following me on Twitch, as then you'll get a notification on your email, phone, or even just Twitch when I do go live. So thank you all so much. Also, be sure to join the Reddit and Discord. I'm sure you know what a Reddit is. You can basically just post stuff in there that you think's funny, cool, stuff to do with The Witcher, Elder Scrolls, just anything that you think's interesting and you just want to share, just put it in there. So thank you all so much, and that was a rhyme. And also on the Discord, it's pretty much similar to the Reddit, but there's a lot of people you can chat to. It's like a big chat roomy sort of thing in a way. It's quite cool. There's a lot of people in there now, and you can just talk about this sort of thing, you know, fantasy, or just stuff you like in general. So thank you to every single one of you that does all these things I say in the outro. And finally, as always, a big thank you to the Patreon pledges. You guys genuinely help me out so much, and I just want to say thank you so much, as it's really, really kind of you. You're all honestly amazing, and I just want to say thank you all so much. It really helps, especially in months like January, so I appreciate all of these people. I'm glad to put all your names at the end of today's video. Anyway guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Have an awesome rest of the week.